now that the weather's starting to get warmer in the Midwest, we really like to grill when it gets nice outside. And I kind of get tired of mixing up spice blends for every time I'm going to marinate a meat or I want to put it on vegetables. So I decided this year, I got these little glass jars from Hobby Lobby. They were like 99 cents. They were on clearance. And I want to make a Greek, a Tuscan, and a Moroccan. And I might in the future even make like an Indian rub. I have a couple other things in mind, but I thought I would start with something because I've never done this before. So let's start with the Greek seasoning blend. So this calls for, now I just got these off the internet. So you can Google homemade spice blend recipes and a ton will come up. So let's see, this is 1 tablespoon and we need 2 of basil. So let's get that in there. We'll see just how much this makes. I might have to double it, but we can just do it all again if it needs to be. I don't know how much this is really gonna make. Okay, 1 of dill, 1 tablespoon of dill. Oh, I can already tell by the measurements we're gonna need a lot more. Okay, let me just do it now. So we did 2 tablespoons, so let's do 5. So that was 1. That's 2 servings. That's 3. 4. 5. Okay, so that is the basil. Now we'll need 5 tablespoons of dill. And these little jars are nice because they have the lids, so we can just shake them up when we're done and they'll be a mix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we need 3 tablespoons of oregano, and we're doing 5, so 15 of these. I know there's a better way to measure it, but now you can put these kind of seasonings on fish, vegetables, really anything. I use them quite a bit. This is smelling really strong. I don't know if I want that much oregano. I'm not a big oregano fan. So you can actually customize these obviously to, you know, what you like and what you don't like. If you don't like an ingredient, leave it out. It's not gonna matter that much. Okay, so we got a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we're gonna have 2.5. Now, sometimes with seasonings, I do add salt and pepper and sometimes I don't. It depends. If I'm using it for rubs, then I will add the salt and pepper. Otherwise, I just have to add it when I'm doing it. If it's something that I'm gonna put like in a dip or something with cream cheese or sour cream or whatever, then I don't add the salt and pepper and I just do it to taste. So this is black pepper. It calls for 1 tablespoon. So I'm gonna probably put in 2 because I don't want it to be have that much of a kick. Salt calls for 1/2 tablespoon. Again, I'm not gonna put a lot in here. Maybe a little tiny bit more. I think that's about it because I don't want it to be too salty. And then I need some onion powder. Ooh, this smells good. 1. 2. 3. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then some garlic powder. Garlic powder is about the same, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this made more than my little jar, so that's not a problem at all. We will make it a bigger bowl. We can dump this stuff in. I might add a tiny bit more salt. Okay. Let's mix this up. Oh, if you could smell this, it smells so good. You can smell the dill and the oregano and basil sound, you know, feels so kind of Italian, but then garlic and onion powder, oh, it smells amazing. So just I gotta make sure we get all this. There's some chunks, you wanna break those up. This is looking pretty good. All right, let's get a little funnel, which will make this way easier. Okay. And just feed it in. Like I said, we'll have a little bit more, so I'll just put what doesn't fit in the jar into a Ziploc and put it in my pantry because I'm going to have these out above my stove. So they're quick and easy to get to. Oh, it smells amazing. It looks so cute. Can't stand it. And how easy will this be when we just want to grill? Everything will be done. I know I'll be happy I did this. These little funnels are great. I use them for everything. I made homemade salad dressing. I use it to put oil into a jar. I could probably put a tiny bit more. There. So now we have our Greek seasoning. You can see everything blended in there. It's just so exciting. So I'll review the Greek blend again. It's 3 tablespoons of oregano, 2 tablespoons of basil, 1 tablespoon of dill, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of black pepper. The salt, use to your discretion. If you want to leave it out, you can. If you want to add more, you can. That just makes one batch. So if you're wanting to make it where you can have it in a jar, you're going to want to, like I did 5 times of what I was doing, and I cut back a little bit on the salt. Okay, so for the next one we're going to do is Tuscan seasoning. So this one, I think I'm getting into a rhythm. I'm gonna mix them in here first. Kind of makes more sense. Okay, so this calls for, let me kind of add up the totals. I'm gonna double this. So 6 tablespoons of basil. Actually, I think what I'll do is, yeah, I'll double it. 3, 4, 5. Let me see how much that is. Oh, that's enough. Okay, we'll just do one recipe. So 6 tablespoons of basil, 3 tablespoons of salt. Again, I'm not going to use that much. I don't want it to be too salty, and I can always add that later. So I'll just do 2. Dried rosemary. We need 2 tablespoons. One, 2. Oregano. Do oregano? I already did oregano. It's on here twice. That's really weird. Okay. So then next is tarragon, and this calls for 2 tablespoons. I don't like that much tarragon in my things, so let me, 2 tablespoons. So I'm just going to do 1. One tablespoon of garlic powder. Now I love garlic powder, so I think I'm going to add a little bit more. So it calls for 1. I'm going to do 1.5. Okay. Then it calls for fennel seed. I don't like fennel seed, so I'm going to leave that out. But if you like it, it calls for 2 tablespoons of fennel seed. And I'll read this back at the end. So now we got black pepper. And it calls for 2 tablespoons. I'm only going to put in 1, because then I can season if I need more in the end. A teaspoon of dried chili flakes. I like them, but I don't like them a lot. So I'm going to just do a 1/2 teaspoon. I don't want it to be too spicy. And then 3 tablespoons of salt, which again, I am not going to put that much in. So let's put in, let's see, I mixed up the ratios a little bit. I'm going to put in 1.5. Okay. So again, stir this little guy. So this one recipe of this is going to be 6 tablespoons of dried basil, 3 tablespoons of either table kosher salt or sea salt flakes, 2 tablespoons of dry rosemary, 2 tablespoons of dried oregano, 2 tablespoons of dried tarragon. You can also use thyme instead if you like thyme better. 1 tablespoon of powdered garlic. Again, I upped it because we really like garlic. 2 tablespoons of fennel seed, 2 tablespoons of ground black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of dried chili flakes, which is optional. So I didn't put quite that much in because I don't want it to be too spicy and overpower what I'm putting it in, since I'll probably put it in, many different things. So again, that's the Tuscan seasoning. All right, let's get this guy in here. And we have one more. We're gonna do a Moroccan, which I think sounds amazing. Moroccan is really good on beef, lamb. I even do it on chicken a lot. I had a Moroccan seasoning blend, oh gosh, years ago. And I've just been kind of making my own, you know, mixing it up as I go. And like I said, if you're trying to get dinner on the table or you're trying to get something marinated before you run out the door, it's not fun to sit and have to mix up all this. So I got kind of wise to it and decided I would make my own seasoning blends. So, and like I said, these are going to sit on a little shelf above my stove. Now I just have to find some fun labels. I'm all about the fun labels. I have a Cricut, but I don't use it too much because I don't have it set up, so I have to set it up every time I want to do something. And sometimes, again, that's more work than it's worth for 3 labels. Rosemary's kind of clogging this up a little bit. Sometimes when you get those bigger spices, they kind of tend to do that. I'll probably put a little bit more in. And then, like I said, I'll just put the rest in a Ziploc and label it. And I can just fill them right from there. And maybe the next time I'll wash them up and make some different ones. Okay, so that's our Tuscan seasoning. Now I'll wipe these down and stuff when I put them away, but there's Tuscan. Okay, here's our last one. This is Moroccan spice blend. So we are going to need paprika. Calls for 4 teaspoons. Oh, this is such a beautiful color. I love the warm spice mix in Moroccan cooking. Brings the heat and just that warmth. Again, you can use this on fish or chicken, beef, lamb, vegetables, potatoes. It's good on everything. Okay, so that was 4 teaspoons of paprika. Now we need 4 teaspoons of cumin. And I'm just doing one of these, one recipe. I'm not going to double it because I use this less frequently and I tend to not use as much. So for right now, I'm just going to do the one size batch. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Oh, this smells so good. 1 teaspoon of ground clove. Oh, this smells so yummy. This is what I'm talking about with the warm spices. Oh, it smells so good. We need ground ginger. This is 1 teaspoon. This will give it kind of that little bit of a kick. And then we need 2 teaspoons of pepper. Again, I'm not going to put that much in. I just feel like that's too much for me and I can season it. So I'm just going to do 1. And then I'm not going to put cayenne. It calls for 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne. And then it calls for 1 teaspoon of salt. So that's kind of the same thing. I think I'll put in the 1 teaspoon and then I can add it if I need it. I need more of it. And then I need 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Let me grab that. going to kind of lightly pack this just to get kind of an idea. So we're close to the measurements because you don't want it too sweet. Okay, that's that. Give it a little mix. And then we can put this in our last jar. And we have 3 seasonings to marinate or cook with. So this is, again, the Moroccan spice blend. You gotta kind of break the brown sugar up so you don't get a big chunk of it in just one and not any in the other. So this calls for 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 4 teaspoons of paprika, 4 teaspoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of pepper, and a half a teaspoon of cayenne if you prefer that. I left it out. I can always add that into whatever I'm making if I want to add the heat. And I'll know just with my own blend, I'll know that's not in there because I have kids, so I tend to leave those things out. Let's get this guy in here. How fun is this? I love this. This makes me anxious to cook, and gets kind of exciting to cook when you don't have to go through 10 minutes of mixing up a spice blend or a marinade or whatever you want to use. And my guess, I love to cook and I've been cooking for a really long time. My guess is if I was going to sprinkle this on potatoes, I would just loosely do it, same with veggies. And then if you're going to use it as a dry rub, be sparingly. You don't want to cover it with this. And then if you're going to want a wet marinade, you're just going to add, actually I think I can pour this. You're just going to add some olive oil to it. Put it in a Ziploc with whatever you're marinating and squish it around. Yeah, that's the perfect amount that I wanted. I didn't want a full jar because I might tend to make it differently, or and it would have been full, except I didn't do all the salt and I didn't do the cayenne. So that's our last one. That was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that part.